Module 3. Behavioral Neuroscience. Behavioral neuroscience and physiological psychology are two closely intertwined fields of study that explore the intricate relationship between the brain, behavior, and the physiological processes underlying human and animal actions. Behavioral neuroscience investigates the neural mechanisms responsible for various behaviors, emotions, and cognitive functions. It delves into topics such as neuroanatomy, neurotransmission, and the impact of brain lesions on behavior. By employing techniques like neuroimaging and electrophysiology, researchers can better understand how the brain influences our actions and reactions. Physiological psychology, on the other hand, focuses on the physiological processes that contribute to behavior. It examines the role of hormones, neurotransmitters, and other bodily systems in shaping our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Researchers in this field study topics like stress, sleep, and sensory perception to unveil the physiological underpinnings of behavior. Together, these disciplines offer invaluable insights into the complex interplay between biology and behavior, shedding light on crucial aspects of human and animal psychology. Their findings not only advance our understanding of the mind but also hold great promise for addressing a wide range of neurological and psychological disorders. Understanding the post-synaptic mechanism in neurons. The post-synaptic mechanism is a critical component of neural communication within the intricate network of the human brain. It plays a pivotal role in transmitting information from one neuron to another and is central to our ability to think, learn, and perceive the world around us. At the core of this mechanism lies the synapse, a specialized junction between two adjacent neurons. The presynaptic neuron releases neurotransmitters into the synaptic cleft, a tiny gap that separates it from the postsynaptic neuron. These neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that carry information across the synaptic cleft. Upon reaching the postsynaptic neuron, they bind to specific receptor sites on its cell membrane. The binding of neurotransmitters to receptors initiates a cascade of events within the postsynaptic neuron. This process can either be excitatory or inhibitory, depending on the type of neurotransmitter and receptor involved. In excitatory synapses, neurotransmitter binding leads to the opening of ion channels, allowing positively charged ions like sodium to flow into the postsynaptic neuron. This influx of ions generates an electrical signal called a postsynaptic potential, PSP, often in the form of an excitatory postsynaptic potential, which makes it more likely for the postsynaptic neuron to fire an action potential and transmit the signal further. Conversely, inhibitory synapses use neurotransmitters that open ion channels permeable to negatively charged ions like chloride. This results in an inhibitory postsynaptic potential, making it less likely for the postsynaptic neuron to reach the threshold for firing an action potential. The collective integration of these excitatory and inhibitory inputs at the postsynaptic neuron determines the net effect of the synaptic transmission. This finely tuned process enables the brain to process information, make decisions, and control various bodily functions. Understanding the postsynaptic mechanism is crucial not only for advancing our knowledge of neuroscience but also for developing treatments for neurological disorders and mental health conditions that arise from synaptic dysfunction. Consciousness and physiological psychology. Consciousness is the enigmatic core of our human experience, the realm where thoughts, emotions, and perceptions converge to form our unique subjective reality. While philosophers have pondered its nature for centuries, the field of physiological psychology offers a scientific lens to explore the intricate relationship between consciousness and the human brain. Consciousness is the capacity to convey our thoughts and emotions to others. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology or psychobiology, seeks to unravel the physiological mechanisms that underlie our mental processes and consciousness. It acknowledges that consciousness emerges from the intricate dance of neurons, neurotransmitters, and brain structures. One fundamental concept in this field is the idea of the mind-brain connection. It posits that mental states and consciousness are products of the brain's electrical and chemical activities. The brain's intricate networks of neurons and synapses create the electrical impulses and chemical signals that give rise to our thoughts, perceptions, and emotions. The study of consciousness within physiological psychology encompasses various aspects. Researchers investigate altered states of consciousness, such as sleep and dreams, to understand their neural substrates and functions. They also explore the impact of brain injuries, diseases, and psychotropic substances on consciousness, shedding light on the fragility and adaptability of our cognitive experiences. Furthermore, physiological psychology plays a crucial role in addressing ethical and medical dilemmas related to consciousness, such as coma patients, anesthesia, and mental disorders. It informs our understanding of how consciousness can be impaired, altered, or even restored through medical interventions. Behavioral neuroscience. Behavioral neuroscience and physiological psychology are two closely related fields that explore the intricate connections between the brain, behavior, and the body's physiological processes. These disciplines aim to unravel the mysteries of how our brain functions and influences our actions, emotions, and thoughts. Behavioral neuroscience, also known as biopsychology or psychobiology, investigates the relationship between the nervous system and behavior. Behavioral neuroscience is the common name used today for the area that involves the study of the physiology of behavior. Researchers in this field employ a multidisciplinary approach, incorporating principles from biology, neuroscience, psychology, and genetics. They examine topics such as brain structure and function, neurotransmitter systems, and how they impact cognition, emotion, and behavior. Behavioral neuroscience seeks to uncover the neural mechanisms underlying various mental disorders, addiction, memory, and learning, shedding light on potential treatments and interventions. Physiological psychology, on the other hand, focuses on the physiological processes that underpin behavior. It delves into how bodily functions, such as hormones, neurotransmitters, and sensory perception, interact with the brain to shape our actions and experiences. For example, it explores how stress hormones like cortisol can affect our mood and cognitive function, or how sensory input is processed in the brain to create our perception of the world. Both behavioral neuroscience and physiological psychology play critical roles in advancing our understanding of the mind-body connection. They offer insights into the causes of neurological and psychological disorders and guide the development of novel treatments and therapies. Additionally, these fields contribute to broader areas like cognitive science and clinical psychology, enriching our comprehension of human behavior, and paving the way for breakthroughs in mental health research. High-frequency information and physiological psychology, an interdisciplinary exploration. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology or psychobiology, is a branch of psychology that seeks to understand how the human brain and nervous system influence behavior and mental processes. In recent years, the field has witnessed a burgeoning interest in high-frequency information, a concept borrowed from the realm of electronics and data transmission. This intersection of physiological psychology and high-frequency information has opened up exciting new avenues of research and understanding of the human brain. High-frequency information refers to rapid and precise data transmission, often associated with frequencies in the electromagnetic spectrum or signal processing. In the context of physiological psychology, it can be likened to the rapid transmission of neural signals within the brain. Neurons communicate through electrical impulses, and the speed and accuracy of these signals are crucial for various cognitive and behavioral functions. One area where high-frequency information has been instrumental is in studying neural oscillations. These rhythmic patterns of neural activity occur at different frequencies, such as gamma, 30 to 100 Hz, beta, 13 to 30, alpha, 8 to 13, theta, 4 to 8, and delta, less than 4 Hz. Researchers have discovered that these oscillations are associated with specific cognitive processes, emotions, and even neurological disorders. For instance, gamma oscillations are linked to cognitive processes like attention, memory, and perception. Understanding the role of high-frequency information in neural oscillations has profound implications for physiological psychology. It allows researchers to investigate how disruptions in these oscillations might contribute to mental health disorders, such as schizophrenia or depression, and how interventions like neurofeedback or brain stimulation can potentially modulate high-frequency neural activity to improve cognitive functioning. Neurofeedback is a cutting-edge therapeutic technique that harnesses the power of real-time brain activity monitoring to improve mental well-being. By using electroencephalography, or EEG, or functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, neurofeedback allows individuals to gain insight into their brain patterns and learn how to self-regulate them. Through this process, individuals can address various neurological and psychological issues, such as anxiety, ADHD, and PTSD. During neurofeedback sessions, individuals receive visual or auditory feedback based on their brainwave activity, enabling them to consciously adjust their mental states. This non-invasive and drug-free approach holds promise for enhancing self-awareness and promoting healthier brain functioning, offering new horizons in mental health treatment. For example, high-frequency information would be contained in a bronze or metal image. The ventral stream, the dorsal stream, and physiological psychology, a journey through visual processing. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology, is a branch of psychology that delves into the intricate relationship between the human brain and behavior. Within this field, there's a profound interest in understanding the roles of the ventral and dorsal streams in visual processing, shedding light on how the brain perceives and interacts with the external world. The ventral stream and dorsal stream are two distinct neural pathways within the visual system, each responsible for specific aspects of visual perception and behavior. These streams originate in the primary visual cortex, V1, and continue processing visual information in different ways. The ventral stream, often referred to as the what pathway, primarily deals with object recognition and the identification of visual stimuli. It encompasses areas like the ventral occipital temporal cortex and is crucial for recognizing faces, objects, and scenes. This pathway allows us to understand what we are looking at, enabling recognition of a friend's face or a familiar object. Tasks that entail recognizing the form of an object should elicit neural activity within the ventral stream, whereas tasks focused on pinpointing the location of an object should trigger activation in the dorsal stream. On the other hand, the dorsal stream, known as the where or how pathway, focuses on spatial perception and the guidance of actions. It extends into regions like the posterior parietal cortex and plays a vital role in tasks involving spatial awareness and motor control. For example, when catching a ball, the dorsal stream helps process the trajectory and guides the motor actions needed to intercept it. Physiological psychologists explore these neural pathways to understand how visual information is processed in the brain and how this processing influences our behavior. Research in this area has unveiled the complexities of visual perception, including the integration of these streams and their relevance to disorders like visual agnosia or optic ataxia. Large diameter myelinated axons and their significance in physiological psychology. Physiological psychology, a field that investigates the relationship between the brain and behavior, delves deep into the intricate mechanisms governing neural communication. Among the myriad components that constitute the neural network, large diameter myelinated axons hold a pivotal role in ensuring efficient and rapid transmission of neural signals. Myelinated axons are nerve fibers covered by a fatty substance called myelin, which acts as an insulator. These axons come in various sizes, and the large diameter myelinated axons are particularly noteworthy due to their unique properties. These axons facilitate the swift transmission of electrical impulses over long distances within the nervous system. This phenomenon has profound implications for physiological psychology. One of the critical functions of large diameter myelinated axons is the rapid conduction of sensory information. When we touch a hot stove, for example, sensory receptors in our skin send signals through these axons to our brains at astonishing speeds. This rapid transmission is crucial for our ability to respond quickly to potentially harmful stimuli, showcasing the intimate connection between neural physiology and our behavioral responses. Furthermore, large diameter myelinated axons are involved in motor control. When we decide to move a muscle, such as lifting a hand, signals generated in our brain must travel down to the muscles through these axons. The speed and efficiency of this process are essential for the precision of our movements. In the context of physiological psychology, understanding the role of large diameter myelinated axons in sensory perception, motor control, and overall neural communication is paramount. Disorders affecting these axons, such as demyelinating diseases like multiple sclerosis, can lead to a range of neurological deficits, underscoring the importance of these axons in our cognitive and behavioral functioning. If a patient has experienced damage to the large diameter myelinated axons responsible for sensation in her face, it is reasonable to anticipate that she may encounter challenges in perceiving a tickling sensation on her forehead. Personal moral dilemma and physiological psychology, the battle within. A personal moral dilemma is a conflict between one's internal moral compass and external factors, such as societal norms or personal interests. In these challenging situations, physiological psychology plays a crucial role in unraveling the intricate workings of the human mind and body as they grapple with ethical decisions. When confronted with a moral dilemma, our brains undergo intricate processes that involve various brain regions. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and impulse control, plays a pivotal role. This region evaluates the moral options, weighs consequences, and helps us make ethical choices. Additionally, the limbic system, which governs emotions, often exerts a strong influence on our moral decisions. It can push us towards actions aligned with our emotions, even if they contradict our moral values. When a close friend or family member asks for help in doing something morally wrong, such as covering up a crime or cheating on a partner, is an example of a personal moral dilemma. Consider the classic trolley problem, where one must decide whether to pull a lever to divert a trolley from hitting 5 people at the cost of redirecting it towards one. This moral quandary triggers profound physiological responses. As the brain processes this dilemma, stress hormones like cortisol may increase, while neurotransmitters like serotonin fluctuate, affecting mood and judgment. Furthermore, Physiological psychology can explain how individuals may experience cognitive dissonance when their actions conflict with their moral beliefs. This dissonance often results in inner turmoil, leading to feelings of guilt or shame. Exploring the neural basis of personal moral dilemmas offers insights into why individuals make different choices when confronted with similar ethical challenges. It underscores that morality is not solely a product of rational thinking but is deeply intertwined with our emotional and physiological responses. The right hemisphere of the brain and physiological psychology. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology or behavioral neuroscience, delves into the intricate relationship between the brain and behavior. Within this field, one of the most intriguing aspects of the study is the lateralization of brain functions, with each hemisphere contributing differently to various cognitive and perceptual processes. The right hemisphere of the brain, often referred to as the non-dominant hemisphere, has garnered significant attention for its unique role in the complex tapestry of human cognition and emotion. One of the prominent functions associated with the right hemisphere is spatial perception and processing. It plays a pivotal role in understanding the spatial orientation of objects, recognizing patterns, and appreciating the visual and spatial aspects of the world. For instance, when you're trying to navigate through a maze or recognize a face in a crowd, your right hemisphere is actively engaged in these tasks. Moreover, the right hemisphere also plays a crucial role in emotional processing. While the left hemisphere is often associated with positive emotions like happiness, the right hemisphere is more closely linked to the processing of negative emotions, such as fear and sadness. Studies have shown that damage to the right hemisphere can lead to deficits in recognizing and experiencing emotions appropriately. Interestingly, the right hemisphere is involved in the processing of figurative language, such as metaphors and humor, which adds depth and nuance to our communication skills. Additionally, it contributes to our sense of empathy, allowing us to understand and connect with the emotions of others. In the field of physiological psychology, research into the right hemisphere continues to expand our understanding of how the brain influences behavior. By exploring its role in spatial perception, emotional processing, language, and social cognition, researchers gain insights into a wide range of neurological conditions, including stroke, traumatic brain injury, and psychiatric disorders. Unconditional responses and physiological psychology, a window into innate behavior. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology or psychobiology, delves into the intricate relationship between the brain, the nervous system, and behavior. One fundamental concept in this field is the exploration of unconditional responses, which provides valuable insights into the innate aspects of human behavior. Unconditional responses, often associated with classical conditioning, are innate, automatic reactions that occur without prior learning or conditioning. These responses are hardwired into our biology and have evolved to ensure our survival. In the context of physiological psychology, unconditional responses serve as a crucial window into the primitive and primal aspects of human behavior. One well-known example of an unconditional response is the startle reflex. When exposed to a sudden and loud noise, individuals will instinctively react by jumping or exhibiting a heightened state of alertness. This response is not learned but is an innate mechanism designed to protect us from potential threats. Studying such unconditional responses can provide valuable information about the underlying neural mechanisms and how they interact with cognitive processes. Physiological psychologists utilize various methods, including neuroimaging techniques like fMRI and EEG, to investigate the neural pathways and brain regions involved in unconditional responses. This research helps uncover the intricate connections between our sensory systems, the brain, and our automatic, unconditioned reactions. Understanding unconditional responses is not only valuable for basic scientific exploration but also has practical implications in fields like clinical psychology. Some psychological disorders, such as anxiety disorders or post-traumatic stress disorder, involve dysregulated unconditional responses. By gaining insights into the neural underpinnings of these responses, researchers can develop more effective therapeutic interventions to help individuals better manage their automatic reactions and alleviate the symptoms of these disorders. For example, you are watching a movie on a Saturday night. The phone rings and your grandmother tells you that your father has died after being hit by a car. 5 months later, you see an advertisement for the same movie and suddenly feel very sad. This is an example of an unconditional response. Delusion of persecution and physiological psychology, unraveling the intricacies. Delusion of persecution is a captivating and perplexing facet of mental illness that has piqued the interest of physiological psychology. This phenomenon, often associated with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia, involves an individual firmly believing that they are being targeted, harassed, or conspired against, despite a lack of credible evidence. Understanding the physiological underpinnings of this delusion is a challenging yet vital pursuit within the realm of psychological research. Individuals who hold the belief that others are conspiring against them are likely experiencing symptoms of this condition. Physiological psychology, also known as biopsychology, explores the relationship between the brain, nervous system, and behavior. When it comes to delusions of persecution, researchers delve into how alterations in neural circuitry and neurotransmitter imbalances might contribute to this disturbing symptom. One key player in this investigation is the neurotransmitter dopamine. Studies have suggested that elevated dopamine levels in specific brain regions, such as the mesolimbic pathway, are linked to the emergence of delusions in psychiatric disorders. Excess dopamine activity can lead to aberrant processing of sensory information, causing individuals to misinterpret benign stimuli as threatening, thereby fostering paranoid beliefs. Additionally, physiological psychology has delved into the role of brain structure and function in the manifestation of delusions of persecution. Abnormalities in the prefrontal cortex, a region associated with reasoning and reality monitoring, have been implicated. Dysfunctional connectivity between various brain regions, including the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, involved in emotional processing, may contribute to the misattribution of social cues as threatening. Autism, genetic influence, and physiological psychology, unlocking the complex puzzle. Autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by a range of symptoms including social difficulties, repetitive behaviors, and communication challenges. While the exact causes of autism remain multifaceted and not fully understood, there is strong evidence to suggest a significant genetic influence. The field of physiological psychology plays a pivotal role in unraveling the intricate relationship between genetics and autism. Research has consistently shown that autism tends to run in families, and identical twins are more likely to share the diagnosis compared to fraternal twins or non-twin siblings. These findings strongly implicate a genetic component. Physiological psychology delves into the biological underpinnings of this genetic influence, exploring how specific genes and their variations may contribute to the development of autism. One critical area of focus in physiological psychology is the study of neurotransmitters and their receptors in the autistic brain. Some genetic mutations have been linked to altered levels of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which play essential roles in regulating mood, behavior, and communication. Dysregulation in these neurotransmitter systems can lead to the core symptoms of autism. Additionally, researchers have identified specific genes, such as those associated with synaptic function and neuronal connectivity, that are more prevalent in individuals with autism. These genes influence how neurons communicate and form connections in the brain, and their dysfunction can contribute to the characteristic social and cognitive challenges seen in ASD. The incidence of autism in fraternal twins stands at 5%, while in identical twins, it reaches a much higher rate of 70%. Instrumental conditioning. Instrumental conditioning, also known as operant conditioning, is a fundamental concept in the field of psychology that explores how behaviors are shaped and modified through the consequences they produce. This theory was pioneered by B.F. Skinner in the mid-20th century and has since become a cornerstone of behaviorism and behavioral psychology. In instrumental conditioning, an individual learns to associate their actions with specific outcomes. It operates on the principle of reinforcement, which can be positive, rewarding, or negative, removing aversive stimuli. When a behavior leads to a favorable consequence, it becomes more likely to be repeated, while behaviors resulting in unfavorable outcomes are less likely to recur. This process of trial and error ultimately shapes an individual's behavioral repertoire. Physiological psychology, on the other hand, explores the intricate relationship between behavior and the underlying physiological processes in the brain and nervous system. It seeks to unravel the biological mechanisms that govern thoughts, emotions, and actions. Researchers in this field investigate how neural structures, neurotransmitters, hormones, and other physiological factors influence behavior. The connection between instrumental conditioning and physiological psychology is profound. As individuals engage in instrumental learning, such as acquiring a new skill or breaking a habit, their brain changes at the neural level. These changes can be observed through neuroimaging techniques and studies on neurotransmitter activity. Physiological psychology provides insights into the neural pathways and chemical processes that underpin the acquisition, maintenance, and extinction of behaviors learned through instrumental conditioning. An example of instrumental conditioning occurs when a dog sits at his owner's command.